We are on stage.
We are here.
Yes, we are.
We are here. Hey, Benton Harbor, 49022. Little late today, but generally, Chief and I were going in and out of meetings, and he was at a very important meeting, and we did think or figure that going on late would be better than maybe not going on at all. So here we are. We're delayed, but we're still here. Chat with the Chief. Today is May 29th. 2025. I am Director McGinnis, Ben Harbor City. There is the incomparable Chief Abrams of Benton Charter Township. How you
Glad to
doing, Chief?
I'm good. I'm good. I had a great meeting. It was at the LMC Academy. Just going over some things as far as the future of their police academy, which we have a cadet there now. I don't know if you have any there at the LMC Academy right now. I think you do. At least one, maybe.
Not this one.
Not this one. Okay, right. We have one there now, but that academy is great. I mean, they have these these quarterly meetings, and it's all about the direction that the departments want to see them go, with the directions they're going, their future plans and endeavors. They even spoke about maybe joining the county for a reserve program, an EMS program, and possibly even a fire program if they link up with you and Deputy Chief Clark. So they got some great things coming. I'm proud of Brad Byerly for the work he's done at that academy so far, and he's really looking at trying to get the consortium off the ground as well.
Yes. All right. So, Benton Harbor, just to kind of give you a frame of reference of what Chief is talking about. Um, so, LMC, there's a director there. His name is Brad Byerly. He's absolutely phenomenal. A
Hmm.
great director. He's done a great thing with the criminal justice system there at LMC. And we meet was it quarterly, really
Yeah,
all the kind of the departments, and we have input with Director Byerly. He keeps us posted on what he's working on. um, he brought back the police academy. Now this is the second one, which is amazing. We have our own now because I'm big on our own, and it's just great. The sheriff is part of it, so we have these meetings quarterly, was where Chief was, and I think it speaks volumes to how we work together, not only just on the streets, but even the intangibles like training and sharing our vision with where we'd like to see training in public safety go, police, fire, EMS in the future, and that LMC has leadership and a great director that they're hearing us. We have sponsored many classes in partnership with LMC, and we'll continue to do that. So, and that is one thing I think we're all pretty proud of, especially when we try to go and recruit, Chief,
yes,
people from the community, people from around here. And I think it's even an added benefit that they can go to an academy that's close to home, not to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and
yes.
drive to Kalamazoo like we had to do. So that's good. That's good. I wasn't there because I was here trying to catch up on some stuff. So glad that we got you here, and interesting. Some of the conversations that had spurred since the last show, interesting enough. So that's kind of where we are today. That's where Chief was, and actually, I had my deputy that was there. That's why I wasn't there also. But yeah, that's what we had today. So
Right.
Chief,
And so at that meeting, uh, Sheriff Height, brought to my attention that um, I guess our discussion we had last week on the juvenile situation and the juvenile center took off in flames. In other words, it's roaring right now, and it's got the attention not only of the higher ups in the courts and the judges, but as well as the community as well. And things are kind of hitting the table, and it sounds like some changes are being made. I can't speak to those changes, but it sounds like it may be in favor um, for the community, for law enforcement as well.
so that is fantastic, and for those who maybe didn't see last week's show or just because an update, we've had issues with juveniles committing certain crimes in the community. That's on both sides of the 49022 line.
Mhm.
Stealing cars, gun violence, and we've had traditionally not just us, every agency in the county has been having trouble getting kids into the juvenile center for whatever reason. We'll leave that there for now. But we had discussed that because what had happened, and I think what got us to start to get momentum, Chief, and this is speaking to Sheriff, when our people started to complain. So what brought it up is people complained to me that it seems like nothing is happening with these juveniles when they're stealing cars, when they're shooting and getting caught with guns. That kind of started the conversation, kind of outwardly, because we've always had it internally amongst all the police agencies. Um, so we ultimately had a meeting, and let me say a couple things. The Berrien County Board leadership is outstanding. The commissioners that met, and some of them I knew before, but they truly care about all of Berrien County. That was the impression I got. Very interested, very engaged. They listened to us. We actually kind of crashed their meeting. It's kind of my fault. But I just wanted to put it out there that, Mac Elliott and other commissioners, outstanding. And I'm very, very satisfied with the leadership we have on the county level and their support, quite honestly.
Yes.
In addition to that, I do want to give a shout out to Sheriff Chuck Height, who has been a great supporter of us. I love the sheriff. We do our thing. We work together, Ben Harbor, Benton Township, and when we need that extra little bit of help or muscle, he's right there. And he's been a great supporter. And Sheriff truly has also another. From South County, but he loves all of Berrien County. And there was a couple of times last week where we called him and he came through. So kudos to Sheriff Chuck Height, Berrien County Sheriff. We thank him for his support and supporting us, Chief. I'm sure you probably feel the same way as far as the support we get from Sheriff Height. And no, we're in a good situation, I think, as far as us organizations working together. So,
I agree.
so with that being said, apparently there's some people that's got a little hot. And here's the thing. Here's what I'm gonna say, Chief, and that's all I'm gonna say on it. Only time people get upset when things are said when it applies to them.
True.
So
Uh,
are we starting to get movement on it? Are citizens stepping up? Has the clergy stepped up? So right now we have the perfect storm because citizens, clergy, and our departments are working together as one to solve an issue. That's how it's supposed to work. So I won't apologize if I said some things that maybe people got offended with because the people who are on this side aren't offended. They were quite happy that it was said. So that's all I'm gonna say.
well, Chief, that's just passion. We wouldn't be here uh, having this chat with the chief if either one of us weren't passionate about the job that we do and the community that we care about. And to me, that means more. That carries a lot of weight, And sometimes we may get a little passionate, in our discussions, and we may say something that might be a tad bit out of line. But just know, that it comes from the heart. It's because of what we do and how we care. So I think you did a great job when you brought these things up. I can hear the passion in your voice, and I don't think there's a time that we need to change that anytime soon.
I appreciate that. I think honestly, Chief, and hello to our almost 30-year friend Jeff Sturgill here. Matter of fact, we worked on your shift. Remember that
Yeah.
old school reunion? Hey, Jeff, and
Got Marcus
the,
Muhammad,
the
man
mayor,
Muhammad, yes, sir,
the
and
mayor.
he's always he's been a part of this growing issue as well, and I know his heart for the city as well because he's involved, and that's what we need. We need a mayor who's going to be involved, sort of same as my township board members. They're involved, and whether it be something I disagree with or agree with, the fact that it appears that they care about everything that's going on is satisfactory enough for me.
So what makes me happy, Chief, is that all right. So we came on, we brought back chat with the chief, and we were saying our main message was get involved, work with us, tell us, your concerns, or if you see something, say something. And then we've seen it happening. My detectives are telling me people are cooperating. Officers are saying people are cooperating. We still got work to do, but people are cooperating, and they're saying things getting done, and that is what we asked for. So we started down a track that where we wanted to go, and now that people are saying stuff, now we're seeing it activate and address other issues because the people are coming together and communicating and working together.
Yes.
And that's phenomenal. Again, you got Pastor McAfee from let me get this right, New Bethel City of Refuge, and of course Pastor Robinson at Second Baptist. You got Pastor at Pilgrim Rest, Pastor Palmer. I don't want to leave anybody out, but we're seeing people coming together and saying, "Hey, we have an issue. We want to help," and that's what it's all about. And then we went to the county, and they were like, "Hey, you're our constituents. We want to make sure that your issues are addressed." And there's some other meetings happened subsequent to that. Sheriff said he met with the chief judge, Judge Mayfield, also phenomenal. Love Judge Mayfield and her leadership. She's no
Yeah.
nonsense. Have the utmost respect for her. Quietly one of my role models. So although I don't see her talk to her much, but that is the leadership that we have in positions in Berrien County, and they want to hear from us and help us. Now that it's coming together and it's working, we're seeing changes are now in the works that are for the positive and will positively affect the people of the 49022.
Uh-huh.
We couldn't have drawn up any better.
I agree. And I think I've told you before, and I tell a lot of people, especially at meetings, I hate going to a meeting where it's just a meeting. I mean, you go there, you talk about what you want to do, and then you leave the meeting, and weeks later, months later, it was just a meeting, and I don't like being a part of those, those meetings where we talk about all the work needs to be done, but ain't nobody putting in the work. Okay. I'm about putting in the work. If we're gonna have a meeting, we need to come up with a plan. One of my Joseph Taylor, who's one of the board members of township, he feels the same way I do. If we're having a meeting about a problem, we have to start somewhere to figure it out. And Brother Taylor was like, "Well, we're not leaving this table until we say who's going to do what and when it's going to be done."
Right.
That's how a meeting should be ran. You come up with a plan, you implement the plan before you leave the table. And I just hate going to meetings where I'm sitting there, I'm giving my input, and that's all it ended up being. It's just my input.
A meeting on meetings. Those are
I'm
totally
meeting on
worth it.
meetings. Exactly. So yeah, and that's why we're late sometimes. We have these meetings, and most of the time, if I'm there, it's because I feel I can make an impact.
Absolutely. And that you are definitely doing. So I want to give also a shout out to Brother Rod Jennings is on here with us. He commented for us. And Ben Aubrey, want to hear from you. Any thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? I think that people realize that, another big thing for this program is our transparency. We talk about things good or bad, and that is for the benefit of the Benton Harbor residents. So I am pleased that we are making some headway, and we want to continue to do that. And again, I don't personally have a whole lot today, Chief. I'm actually, as we talked before, I'm still human.
You're
I'm
still tired too, aren't you?
I am
You know, I
mentally
know you're
and
going through a lot.
physically tired,
Yeah.
but that is the nature of all the jobs that I have, which are several. But I do
What do you
want
mean,
to
coach?
share. Huh?
What do you mean, coach?
I thought about talking about football too. Maybe I will. But I want to kind of share, kind of as we cap off this juvenile issue, is looking at records. So the stolen vehicles, I can tentatively tell you these are 12 to 16 year olds
Mhm.
that are predominantly the group that's stealing cars. Just looking store again, we haven't had many. Those numbers are way down. But then we see like repeat names on other incidents of stolen vehicles or violence, and that's where the issue comes in.
Mhm.
It's we're either not able to put them in a juvenile center, or they're not in there long and they're back out and they're reoffending. So that is the issue, and that's where people are saying, we know it's X, Y, and Z. We know it's this, that, and the other person. Why do we not see anything done? And that's where again we get called to the carpet, because the first place they're coming is to us, right? Chief Abrams, Chief McGinnis. Why did this kid steal my car? Or why was he shoot into my house? But then you let him go. So that's the discussion that is. Again, people might get upset about that, but that is not the reality that Greg or Daniel set. So all we are doing is talking about the facts.
That's right.
So yeah, that is, and it tends to be weapons 15 to 16 years old. So, and I believe that this issue will be fixed and addressed, and we'll have a better system moving forward. So, other than that, though, it hasn't been uh, too bad. The numbers for us for May are pretty good, actually. Like I said, I don't have the major things we look at. Thefts from motor vehicle. Look like we did have a couple this month, last week actually. Looked into that. Actually, no robberies, no one shot. So far, it's been a good month for us. And I know my detectives been very busy because they're always doing something, and I know yours are too. So,
All
like I
right.
said, it's good to not really have bad news to talk about.
Well, I did have a situation happen a couple of days ago. Actually, I think it was yesterday last night. Um, we discovered a gentleman in the parking lot near Joanne Fabrics, deceased, laying in the parking lot. We did find out later that he overdosed.
Mm.
He was just walking. He it appears he may have stopped. Used whatever drug that he had. I'm sure it was some opioid, which is still a problem. And he passed away right there in that particular parking lot. If he'd had somebody with Narcan, I'm sure his life could have been saved. Like a lot of the other overdoses we've had. But unfortunately, that gentleman, he did not survive from his overdose situation. So that was very sad for me to hear. And it did happen, like I said, in the business area parking lot. And I just, my condolences, to that gentleman's family. I don't
Yes.
know the situation. So, but yeah, that was pretty much the highlight so far of my week at this point.
And Chief, let me say to that, just because somebody's on drugs don't make them a bad person.
Exactly.
So our heart goes out to everybody that has maybe a drug overdose or a drug problem. Obviously, illicit drugs are illegal, but us as police also know that a person didn't get there overnight. So I know a lot of times, especially on TV, they paint the picture that cops don't care about drug addicts, they don't care about prostitutes, which is absolutely furthest from the truth. And we said before on the show, Chief, and I think you and I both agree because we've been there. Certain things we take personally, and it like you said, it saddened your heart that this person unfortunately overdosed, and maybe if he or she would have been with somebody else, they could have called us, we could have got there, could have revived them.
Uh-huh.
So I just want to be clear that there's good people that end up getting to be on drugs, and just because they own drugs does not mean that they're bad folks. So our
No,
heart
you
definitely.
have to know the story. I mean,
Yes.
somehow they didn't just land there. there were stresses in their life. There were things in their life, that led them to the direction. It could have even been a sickness that led them to that, or an injury, where someone got injured, painless meds went to something different,
Yep.
and this is where their life ended up at because they didn't either seek the help or they did and it wasn't given to them properly. So there's a lot of moving parts into somebody getting addicted to drugs.
So, kind of on the same note, Chief, I was a couple days ago. I was somewhere and I saw a young lady I know, kind of in a similar situation. Came up, gave me a big old hug, and asked how I was doing and whatnot. And this person looked absolutely terrific. So there's these stories don't always end poorly. People can recover. They can turn their life around.
Hmm.
And if you treat people the right way in this job, they'll remember you, regardless if you had to arrest them or not, put them in handcuffs, take them to the jail. A lot of people have said to me, which I don't necessarily agree with, but you changed my life. No, can probably the Lord change your life. I was just kind of there at a time where we had to deal with situations. So that's why it's important for us at Ben Harbor. The way we try to bring people on is you got to be a fit here and know how to treat people and treat our people.
That is my sermon to my new officers. That has been my sermon as I became chief to my whole department is, you know, be remembered, for some of for caring. Be remembered for caring, for reaching out, not judging, someone that's in a bad situation. I think that brings the community more together more than anything because now you've developed trust, with that one person, which will spread throughout to others just from that one person. So yeah, that's my sermon, man. Treat people how you want to be treated. On the other side, it's what we do. It's what
Yeah,
needs to be done. It's the change that
yeah,
needs to be made all over the country. You treat that person as if that's your mother. You're talking to. That officer. I tell them, treat them like that's your mom, your uncle, your dad. Your child. And I'm telling you, you will get results. You will get good results.
yeah, absolutely. And a big shout out to Sister Pettigrew, who's on there with us generally every time we're on. And again, we got good people in Ben Harbor. And if I can be so bold, when she first started to watch Job with the Chief, she had questions, and again, we were trying to be transparent. So I believe and I hope that she would agree that you can see a kind of a transformation, if you will, of us being open, honest, and transparent with our citizens. That people respect that, and that's why I think the movement that she's referring to is growing. And I
Hmm.
and I think again, maybe the show is more theoretical today, but I think hopefully it can't be argued that you got two agency heads that clearly care about the community, even at peril of putting themselves on hotspot.
Yeah.
And that's what I would want as a citizen. And I hope that people like her who want to hear facts and truth, and also hear when, hey, if we messed up, we messed up. And I'll be the first and have been the first to say, hey, we didn't handle this very well, or this didn't go the way we wanted. But it's people like her that is we're gonna build and work together. And again, I feel I'm extremely tired, but I feel good about where we're going. And I do want to talk about, Chief, the Peace Walk that's coming up, because we partner with the school, and I'm not sure it's I think it's a week later, but the Peace Walk we have every year at the high school. It used to go to Broadway Park and then back to the high school, but this year it's going to go from, and I'm not sure if it's going to be the actual high school. It said something about a garden, and I'm not sure where that is. But basically, it's going to be starting in relation to the high school, walk down Colfax to the city center to the MLK Monument, and then back. So that Peace Day is going to be on June 14th. I don't have a flyer, unfortunately. I looked for it in my email, but I didn't find it. But June 14th, and this has been one of our official partners with our department. June 14th, starting at about I think gathering about 8. I think they're going to take off marching at about 9. We'll get more information on that next week.
Okay.
But that is another. I say all that to say, Benton Harbor, that's another opportunity for us to come together and show solidarity, especially against violence. And we usually have several hundred. I'm expecting to have at least that. I would say last year probably been about 500-600. We'll probably have a minimum of that this year also. So please support us. When I say us, it's not just Ben Harbor, Benton Township police departments, but our community as we stand united against violence in our community. And that is have it every year. Every year. We got Brother
But
Rod here.
and saying that while I look at Rod Jenny's his statement there, we talk about gun violence. Community Ben Harbor Township. Don't forget we have free gun locks. I have hundreds of free gun locks here. I
So,
have them at the front desk. If you come to my department and just ask for a gun lock, you'll get a gun lock and you'll get some free literature to go along with that. So if you think your weapon might be unsafe from uh, children or whatever, and that's just law now, uh, stop by, pick up a gun lock or two, and some free literature to go along with it. Like I said, we don't want to just talk about it. We want to try to provide some solutions to some of the issues that we're facing.
yes. We also have gun locks here for citizens of the city. Actually, anybody can come get gun locks. So,
Come get it.
hey, Chief, this is off the beaten path, but a great question by Brother Jennings here. It says there are those in y'all discipline that says blacks are not going into law enforcement, and some say the opposite. What y'all say? This is what I'm talking about. This is what we want.
Okay,
Dialogue.
so
Go
I
ahead,
can
sir.
I can put that myth to rest. Okay, so I've had several candidates that wanted to go through law enforcement, but somehow they were disqualified. That does happen. But right now, I'm sending a black female to the academy in August. She's passed all the requirements. She's met all our standards, and so now I'll have that addition because I want all types. And yes, if I can get blacks in my community, of course, but I do have one that is tentatively scheduled to go to the KVCC Academy in August. So they're out there. It may not be as broad. The pool might not be as broad for us, as is, for others. But they're there, and we do seek them as well.
So, Brother Rod, I don't have years ago. Actually, I pulled stats from MCOLS for all applicants and all the academies across the state. That was years and years ago. So the truth of the matter is, statistically, you are correct in saying that there are not a lot of blacks that go into law enforcement, and you could probably debate different reasons. I'm not going to get into those things. But traditionally and statistically, that is true. And I think one of the main things that I will speak to is that a lot of people, especially black candidates, and they've said this, we didn't really know how to start the process. We didn't know where to go. And Chief, I'm sure you probably heard that also.
Uh-huh.
So, and that to me, I would say, you know what? Call the department, call our office. We'll walk you through it. We'll be happy to walk you through it because we're always trying to recruit and find people, that reflect the community. So there is some truth to that statistically. However, again, I've spoke to some people, and I've had actually just last week, the AD from the high school had a young man in his office that was curious about police work, and he called me, said, "Hey, you got time to talk to the young man?" And he put me on speakerphone, and the young man asked me a couple questions, which I was happy to answer. So, Brother Rod, to your point is, yes, the numbers aren't as big because traditionally blacks don't go into police work. However, we are seeing the interest build, and we also have had applicants that, for whatever reason, unfortunately, uh, were disqualified. So we are working diligently to recruit people from the area. And let me say this, because I was trying to stay away from controversial sayings today, Chief. I got to say this.
Okay,
So I know people say, well, we want people that's from here. All right. Have you heard that before?
I hear it all the time.
Here's the problem. You got white people that's from here too. So if I hire somebody from here, they don't have to be black if they're from here. Now, people don't think about that way because when they say from here, they talk about hiring black officers. But what we want is people that are going to be dedicated to the area, and have pride working here and be from their community. So, it would be actually we'd walk in a lawsuit if we were discriminating against white versus black
Right.
versus those who are, and here's the magic word, Chief, invested in Benton Harbor or Benton Township, white, black, green, or purple. I'm gonna
Who
stop
don't
there.
want to leave our department, who don't want to go to the academy just so they can work here a year and then go to another department somewhere else and cause us to lose thousands and thousands of dollars. Because you know as well as I do, it's what 30, this what 15,000, 18,000 to go to the academy, maybe, or more, maybe even more. And
It's
then
about
what we invest into, yeah, and then what we invest into them only to have them work here a year and then leave. I've had that, you know. Um, they sit in front of you. Oh, I love this department. I love this community. And as soon as they, hear something a little bit better, they're off and running to what they think is greener pastures, and they find out that it wasn't.
yeah, that is so
So,
true. Here's a great question by Jeffrey Dudley. Why don't they bring back the police cadet program? There's different kind of iterations of that. That could be a good idea down the road. I think right now, personnel wise, it'll be difficult. However, I will say we do sponsor interns from LMC and sometimes other schools at our department. So it's not necessarily the same as a cadet program, Mr. Dudley, but we do actually reach out. Kind of how we started the show. Chief Abrams went to the meeting at LMC because that's part of our outreach to reach into LMC and the education community and recruit from there. We've actually hired, I think, two people that have come through Berrien County, either the Berrien County Fire School or the academy. So we do make an effort to do that, but we don't have an actual police cadet program per se. Hopefully someday, we get to the point where we can, because that will be a tremendous way to recruit people from the area.
but on the other hand, as well, uh, in that meeting, Brad Biley also discussed starting a reserve program at LMC as well.
Yes.
That's in discussion as well. And I know Benton Township, we have a couple of reserve officers now. We are planning to start our reserve program back up again as well. So that may be something you might be interested in as well.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, Chief, because our reserve program kind of through attrition. I think we got like one, maybe two left.
Same
And
here.
really, the main reason for that, honestly, is what all we're trying to do. We're trying to juggle, especially being shorthanded on both sides of the 49022, having a reserve school, either running it ourselves, which is a lot of work. Of course, we already have the fire academy that we run and the various trainings we do. Even the sheriff's office has a reserve course, but that's like once a year.
Mhm.
So I believe, or as necessary. So if LMC can get that, and we can get a quicker, more efficient way to train them that we don't have to do all the work, we'd be
Mhm.
all for that. Getting reserve program back here at the city.
Excellent.
All right. Here's another question. Again, this is why we want to see when you come on here. Basically, what is your plan for people that run stop signs in the residential areas where children are present? This is 24/7. That is a complaint, an issue that we've had for years, and she is correct. And actually, I've been driving around a bit myself, and right now it's a little difficult to try to do anything in the city because there's construction everywhere. But this is something that we are aware of, and I think when we get one of the things I think also we were mindful of, because in Ben Arbor people might tend to take off, and we don't want to be driving, to her point, through the city on a chase through crossings where there's construction where somebody can get hurt. But that is something that we talk about consistently, and pushing our officers. And we have been doing more stops. Again, it'll maybe you haven't seen them in your area or they've happened maybe late at night, but that is something that we are not ignorant of. May Street was kind of like the main. They call it a drag strip. So we are not ignorant of that. And this summer, we'll try to curtail that with just some good old fashioned enforcement, Miss Roseman. So thank you for that question. These are questions that are legitimate questions. We thank you for those.
Right. And as far as across the line there, even though there really is no line. So I've been placing sign-up sheets for officers to do nothing but traffic. It's very difficult to do traffic control when you have officers being proactive in other matters, or taking calls. It's all the time. So it keeps us from being proactive and doing traffic stops because we're always tied up doing taking care of complaints.
Right.
So what I've done at this point is I place a sign up sheet, especially on the weekends. If some officer wants to come in on his day off or whatever, just to do nothing but traffic, then that's what they're allowed to do, just to try to get some of these things back under control, because it's kind of bad. Now I've seen a lot of it just driving around myself.
Yeah.
So we're working on it.
Yes,
We're working
ma'am.
on
We are. And check back with us. Keep us accountable. That's what we're here for. So thank you for that.
it. Yep.
Anybody else? She wanted to send a emoji with her. I don't know if she's saying the gospel or is she yelling at me.
I think that it could have been regarding the comment of officers, saying they want to invest in our community and then leaving to go to another community, you know, which is, we already know, was a problem, but there's nothing we can do about that.
Yeah. Well, and I can say to that, Chief. Oh yeah. Yep. You know what? I bet you I met her because Pearl and Well. That's a spot that. Yeah. Yep. So thank you again, Miss Roseman. I was gonna say something. I just lost my thought on that. Yeah, I don't know.
Regarding the officers, you coming in saying they want to be invested community and they're leaving,
Oh,
go
that's
to
what I
another
was gonna say.
community. Yeah.
So again, this was, I want to say maybe it was 15, 17. Again, I'm a stats guy, and I did a 7-year study for our agency, and what we learned was the average stay over 7 years, Chief, was 6.9 months.
Really?
Let me say it again. The average stay for officers, to your point, coming and going, coming to Ben Harbor, get experience, go off someplace else, was 6.9 months. So there was that encapsulated as minimum as little as working a day up to about 2 years. So 6.9 months. And I don't remember the number that every time we hire somebody, it's thousands of dollars for uniforms, for vests, for training, for equipment. So, one of the things that we've been talking about here on this show is establishing some type of um, uh, foundation and tradition here. And when we change our hiring program, again, we want people that's from the area that will be invested. Our turnover is way, way, way down. We're at a point now we got people. So we have a tradition where in 5 years you get a recognition for longevity and a department challenge coin. You can only get a challenge coin if you got 5 years in or more. And our last banquet, our last officer awards had multiple people that got their 5-year longevity award. I had several people who got 10 years awards. So I say that to say we have moved from people coming here, using us, getting our experience and taking off, to people coming in here, again, invested. You have to be invested in Ben Harbor. That's why it says trust, loyalty, commitment. You got to want to be here and be with us. And that we've had to change. And, we're moving to a pass through to a destination now. And, 20 years ago, would have never thought that. So I think what we're doing is working. And I think we have good people here in a right spot, in the right places. And we're going to continue to try to keep our numbers here. And we're a family. We say we're a family here. and that's what's important. And for people to be able to know officers. So,
Yep.
all
Well, Chief,
right.
I have nothing else, man. I think I've spoke my piece, and yeah.
Okay, and thank you for the citizens. This is the engagement that we want. So we've gone over a little bit, but we having citizens ask questions and we're answering. That's what chat with the chief is really about. And
Uh-huh.
we thank you all who are on here now, and for those that will listen in the future. That's what Brother Ross saying. Not a preacher's one more, but a literal one with limited time. How successful is y'all recruiting progress? I just kind of talked about that. Yeah, we're not a lot of applicants out there, but we've actually had said no to quite a few because you got to be the right fit, sir. That's the thing. Here, you got to be the right fit, and that's what we go by. This is
Yeah,
a
you got a tough program. I agree. Tough program. You public safety, so you have to have the right fit for not only just police, but for fire.
oh
Not
yeah,
everybody can not everybody can do both. So it takes a little longer for public safety to hire and get the right fit than it does just for regular law enforcement.
yeah.
So yeah, you have a tough road ahead of you, but you're doing it. It's being done. So all I can say is keep up that good work.
Appreciate that, and you're doing some major things over there too. So and I don't just stroke your ego because I like you. I'm telling the truth. You
You
were the man
sure?
for that job over there, and you were doing a great job.
Okay, okay. All
Because
right.
if you were
Thank
terrible, I'd say that too.
I appreciate that. You know, we have to do what we have to do, man. We since we started this have been on the same page about how we feel our community, should be treated, and I think collectively we've done that together.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, thank you again, the people on here with the comments. We thank you. We thank you. Really quickly before we go, if you have an issue, you want to contact us directly. Here's my contact information. You can call this number, 927-8425. Leave a message because I'm usually in a meeting or something, and I'll get back to you. And of course, Chief Abrams over at the township. If you live in a township or have a township issue, 926-8221. So, Ben Harper, we're going to get out of here for today. You've been on with Chat with the Chief here on, and we're on Facebook and YouTube. Chief, my mind is kind of spacey
No,
today.
I get it. It's been
So,
that
hey,
kind of.
Ben Harper until next week, same time, same channel. You've been listening to Chat with the Chief with Chief Greg Abrams of Benton Township, myself, Director McGinnis, with the City of Benton Harbor Public Safety Department. We love you. We want to hear from you. Let's keep the positive momentum. Sister Pettigrew, keep it up. Keep praying for us. Keep pushing. Keep inquiring. That's what we need. And we're going to make Benton Harbor the place to be. We love our community. We love our town. And that's why we do what we do. So, till next week, y'all. Y'all take care.
Take care.